What's good, creative fam? Brandon Washington here, and I am super excited about episode 1 of Pro Tools. In this series, I'm going to be taking a look at professional photography and video tools that we can use to really enhance our business. Now, what classifies as a pro tool? Well, for me, it's pretty much any tool you can use to really enhance your professional video and photography workflow. And in today's video, we are taking a look at the BenQ Photography Monitor. Now, yes, I'm going to be looking at this monitor a lot and tell you guys all the awesome things about it, but a lot of the things that I actually learned through reviewing this monitor, I think anyone can really take out of it, because for the longest time, I was editing on two 1080p monitors, and until I upgraded to this monitor, I didn't really realize how important your monitor is to your overall creative output. Now, the first big change for me was switching to one monitor. As I mentioned, I used to shoot on two 1080p monitors, and I love the two monitor setup, but switching over to this 4K monitor really made a massive difference in pretty much everything. The first big thing I realized was having that additional resolution was a game changer when it came to editing video. When I was able to edit my videos using this new 4K monitor, I had so much more room for my I/O of the actual editing application, which in my case, I primarily use Final Cut, but then I was also able to play back all my videos at 100% resolution because I had all those extra pixels. The other thing that I really liked about this monitor in particular was that it was a USB-C monitor. A lot of the 4K monitors out there are USB-C now, which means if you are using like a MacBook Pro or pretty much any Apple computer and even a lot of PC computers, having one port that not only would transfer my video signal, but also provide power to my laptop was a game changer. And especially because I like to use the hinge docking system for my laptop, this made my setup of everything super easy. Now, with the monitors that I had before, I didn't really know too much about color accuracy or calibration or really the importance thereof, but this monitor changed all of that for me. So first of all, this monitor has 10-bit color depth. It also supports HDR10 and HLG for like broadcasting or live, in case you want to just use this as a designated film monitor. This monitor also is going to be able to support Adobe RGB at 99% and 100% at sRGB. And the other thing that I really liked about this monitor was that it came with this little click wheel that you could actually use to switch profiles while using this monitor. So depending on what you were editing or how you were editing it, you can actually change the profile of what you were seeing on your monitor directly from this dial. Now, obviously with a monitor of this caliber, there's a lot of different ways you can use it as a photographer or as a videographer. But for me, I wanted to see if there was another way I could use this, and which I found actually worked really, really well, which was using this as a reference monitor. See, a lot of times when people spend a lot of money on monitors, yes, they're going to be using them at their desk, but using them as a reference monitor out in the field is an awesome additional use, especially when you're investing this kind of money into a monitor. And that's exactly what I found with this one. By being able to attach my Hollyland system to this monitor and wirelessly send my video feed from my actual camera over to this monitor, I could easily see how beneficial this would be out in the field. Being able to use this monitor as a reference monitor, whether that's for my clients or whether that's for a focus puller or whether that's just for making sure that my framing and then my colors and everything looks as good as it possibly can, was an amazing additional asset that I found from this monitor that I really didn't even consider until I got it. Now, one of the main reasons why this monitor is so special is because it has something called AQ color technology. Now, I'm not a scientist and I really don't understand all the details that go into it, but I will say that I could see a massive difference when editing with this monitor versus editing on my MacBook's built-in monitor, and then especially when editing up against my 1080p old monitors. The color depth and the color accuracy that you can actually get out of this monitor is absolutely amazing, especially if you're someone who does a lot of photo editing and video color grading. Being able to see your accurate colors and all the different depths and the luminance of those colors is massive, especially when you're trying to grade it for so many different types of screens. See, the one thing that I realized after using this monitor was that by using my older monitors, I was actually limiting some of what I could do to make sure that my colors and that my pictures were turning out the best way possible. Yes, a lot of people are going to be viewing your content back on different screens and different monitors, but if you can have the most creative control when you're doing your original edit, someone who's watching it back on the best monitor possible can get the best experience, but even those who are watching it back on maybe a lackluster monitor will still get a good experience because the original content has been created at the highest quality possible. Now, another thing that this monitor offers that unfortunately I wasn't able to test is their paper color sync technology. And from the way that BenQ basically explained it was that you can actually test out what your print is going to look like based on what the monitor shows, and that it has everything it needs in order to replicate that color perfectly. I don't know if you guys are like me, but if you've ever taken a photograph and then had that photograph printed, for whatever reason, the colors never really turn out the way they looked on screen. Well, with this monitor, you can actually see an accurate representation of what your print is going to look like using that paper color sync technology. Now, obviously, whenever you buy a new product, there are certain things that you definitely expected to get out of it, but then sometimes, if you're lucky, there are things that you didn't even realize that you needed that comes with the monitor. First being that shade hood. I never really thought about having like a shade hood on a monitor that primarily sits in my office, but I will say that one, having the shade hood is going to be definitely awesome when taking it out on the field. But the other thing that I really liked about it was that it literally cut down on any external lights that are in my office hitting the monitor. I didn't expect to really enjoy it as much as I did, but now it lives on the monitor full time. The other thing that I really liked about this monitor was that it had built-in anti-glare. So if there was a situation where some lights accidentally hit on it, whether I was shooting a video here in my office, I left my light up and then it bounced over to the screen, I literally don't deal with any type of glare on the screen, which means when editing, I'm not trying to, fix it or finagle with it. It literally just looks clean all the time. All in all, this monitor has been an amazing new addition to my workflow. And for anyone who's out there who's looking for an awesome monitor, this is definitely one I can recommend. I'll be honest, before this monitor, spending a lot of money on a monitor really didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I didn't know why exactly people spent so much money on monitors, but now after using it, it totally makes sense. And if you can use it in a way that can really give you the most bang for your buck, like I mentioned, using it for color grading, whether that's in video or if you're editing photos, or also being able to use it as an external monitor while you're out and about on the field while using some type of wireless system, this is definitely a monitor that you can take with you and trust that you're getting everything accurately in camera or on your computer. This has now become the only monitor that I use. I no longer do a 2-monitor setup. Now I actually use this little plugin for Mac called Better Snapping Tool to allow me to arrange my desktop the way I need to. And trust me, I feel like I have plenty of screen real estate with this 32-inch monitor. Now they do have other sizes available for this monitor. So if 32 inches is too much, then you could definitely go with something a little bit smaller. And I'll have links down below to their website. I do want to thank BenQ for actually sending this monitor out to me to test and check out and tell you guys a lot about for this Pro Tools series. I mean, it's exciting that monitors can be this good, and honestly, I never thought that they would make this big of a difference in my workflow, but it really has, and it has definitely become the go-to monitor for me. In fact, even when I used to edit on my monitors and on my laptop, and I would really just go back and forth, and I honestly preferred editing from the laptop before because the Apple monitors are so good. Now I prefer editing from my desktop setup because this monitor is so good, and by docking in my MacBook, I can use it on this monitor with the one cable from the USB-C, and literally it has become the best addition to my workflow when it comes to computers that I've ever had. But there you have it, guys. Whether you are a photographer or a filmmaker, I know this is the photography monitor, but really as someone who shoots a lot of video, I strongly recommend picking up this monitor if you are in that range. I know for me, for the longest time, I was waiting on Apple to come out with an awesome monitor that could, you know, replace their current cinema display, and then they dropped the XDR, which is just ridiculously expensive. And so I was looking for something kind of in that mid-range. This is definitely a monitor for you if you're looking for something that's gonna help you in your creative, but not completely just shatter the bank like with the Apple monitor. I personally think this is an awesome addition, and it works as a great film monitor if you need one. But let me know what you guys think of this monitor, or let me know what monitors you guys have been using for your setups and if it's been working out well for you. I'd love for you guys to let me know down in the comments below. But before we go, let's do our Creative Fam shout out of the day, which goes to Deja Vu Films. I appreciate it, and shout out to a fellow Black Magic shooter. Thank you guys so much for checking out this video. Let me know what you guys want me to review in the next episode of Pro Tools, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.